Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 20th of April. Now, we saw yesterday a further dollar decline. In fact, I'm going to start off looking at the dollar index this morning, and you can pretty much see what a huge day it was there. It finally sort of found some sort of support into that daily 100, but the dollar index is continuing to look soft at this stage. Now, things might change. I'm noticing this morning, I've noticed that the bonds, the 10-year Treasury notes have gone back up to 162 and a half, which was, it was in the 150s yesterday. So it is starting to pick up there. That could see the dollar changing tacks at some stage, but for now, well, we just got to follow the technicals of what's happening here. And well, there's not a lot of support where it sits here technically. I'm just you just sort of put the line across here, and there's well, there was a series of highs way over at about 90, 83 sort of area, but really it's all been chopped up, forgotten territory effectively. Just come down a time frame just to look to see if there's anything there. Really, all it's into it is its pivots there. Even in the higher time frames, nothing again which is really suggesting it could find or have support where it is. I'm just going to draw a trend line across the lows here. You see it's quite a way off even from that sort of mini upward trend that it was in. So there isn't a lot nearby. Looking at the euro, well, the euro is just pushing up here. Before I go too far in, I should say about the news today, but there isn't much. So, likely impact on the markets. We've already had the UK claimant count out, and the next figure is the inflation, New Zealand inflation at 11:45 this evening. So, I'll just throw that in there. Anyway, back to the technical interlude there. So the euro is pushing up, is looking quite solid on the bigger time frames here as we're watching through here. Big outside bar there yesterday, continuation so far today. Really, it's and again it's on 4 hourly where it's into its weekly R2 now on the 4 hourlies there. Daily wise, I just need to adjust these pivots a little. Let's just pop that onto the actual reading of time range so we get them in the right place. There we go. Well, we're double topping on the 60 minutes here. Not too far short of its R1. A push up into that would probably see us hold on to these gains today, but it could slow down a little bit. I couldn't get in yesterday, it just went too quickly at 8 o'clock. It didn't pull back for me sufficiently. Missed this big move here. Hopefully it won't let us down again, but it's pushed through that psychological number of the 1.2 and just carried on pushing. As I said, a little bit of divergence here on the 60 minute, but it's still looking strong, and it is a case of looking for retracements in our trading market. Sorry, I've just gone straight to let's go to the pound. So looking at the pound, well, again, it's sort of a bullish sort of finish to yesterday. Good start with the claimant count significantly lower than expected, but not really reflected too much. There's still lots of concerns about unemployment as we come out of the lockdown, etc., and what's going to happen. However, I mean, it's a slower move on this 4 hourlies. It's been the benefit, I suppose, is the price just held here as opposed to the euro coming right off after 4 o'clock. It sort of pulled right the way back and now pushed up. Still, you can see a bit of a divergence across the highs here. That divergence may just be see it be greeted by more consolidation and then another push. At the moment, looking quite solid in its where it's sitting. It has tried pushing up a little bit more, as I say. Might look for some more consolidation there and look for a breakout. The yen, well, the yen was doing pretty well. It hit air kissed that 50 yesterday. It looks like it's almost pulled back up to the underside of that bar. It was just a fraction away, but it's finding some sort of support. I was looking, and I'm not sure this is quite over yet, this move. I've looked at the lower time frames here, the 4 hourly. I was looking for it to get back into a position and more likely to be held for a few days, weeks, months on this yen, but I just need to be sure that it's finished its downward trend here. At the moment, yes, it put a bit of divergence in on the 4-hourly time frame here. It's pushed up a little bit. I'm not overly convinced yet that this is going to continue. Yes, as I say, divergence, higher lows in on the hourlies. It's certainly putting the right signs in, yet it hasn't broken the near-term trends or this bigger trend that's sort of sitting here. So need to just be a bit patient, but the yen certainly has softened there. Aussie dollar. Now, the money coming out of the yen may be consistent with what we should actually. In fact, before I look at the Aussie dollar, just going to look at the Swissy and see what's happened now. Let's see if money's coming out of there as well. No, it's not. Okay, so it's not consistent in terms of money coming out. These sort of long-term holdings that went into the yen and the Swissy. The Swissy still continue to strengthen here, so just wanted to check that first. Okay, let's get back onto the Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar had performed reasonably well yesterday, pushing up in the end. At the moment it's into a solid old move here on the 4-hourlies and is pushing up there. It was diverging, it's broken through its divergence, just continuing, and well, solid as we look at it at the moment, with the again potential just to continue pushing at this stage. It's already past its daily R1, I think, and you can see an untouched daily pivot, but the potential of that is much less now. It's hit this sort of area up here, and it's so far away. We'll see what happens there. I'm less interested in these the commodity currencies. Canadian dollar, well, yesterday it went the opposite way to most of the other pairings here. Ended up an up day there, and we do have data. Well, tomorrow we've got the Bank of Canada meeting, and I think the markets might just be staying a bit clearer. But at the moment it's certainly been rolling south again, strengthening against the US dollar. And well, we might see more of that. It's not too far away from its sort of key levels, that 124.70 just below. It's held up in this sort of area. If you just come back here for some time, if it can break down, well, maybe we'll see a bigger correction down to the prior low here, 123.72. But for now, well, it might do it, but I would be wary of the Canadian dollar with the data coming out tomorrow. Quick breeze onto the New Zealand dollar. Well, consolidation led into this sort of shove that we've seen now. It had been consolidated with the Aussie for so long, but again the New Zealand dollar just firing off, and divergence where it sits at the moment. Again, this could just consolidate as opposed to really sell off too much. Who knows? But it is looking solid at the moment. It's certainly one of the stronger ones yesterday. Euro pound, let's have a look at that then. Bearish. Well, the pound's made some marks here. Looking at it from a daily point of view, struggling to break down further. Maybe a break of yesterday's lows would just confirm a bit more downside there. Bear flag on the 4-hourlies. The bigger picture is certainly pointing that way. Bear flag here on the 4-hourlies, and I mean, maybe a bit more of an aggressive entry, just on the break of the trend line effectively there if you was looking for it, but it certainly has followed its original trajectory. Yeah, certainly looking like it's going to continue in that sort of downside at the moment. Okay, right, I'll just have a look at the euro yen actually, as it's a regular with me. Yeah, so euro yen finally, with that slightly softer yen, we've seen a break here today of those prior highs there. We're just holding it for, well, 2 weeks basically, and we've finally seen that breakout. Of course it's happened when we're not around to trade any of it, but there it is, and it's shoved up this morning. As I said, the yen's just pulled back, just that little bit more softness. Maybe I don't know if we'll see where this is going to go to now. It's already pushed into its R1 where it's sitting at the moment. Maybe a retrace will give an opportunity for further upside, but as I say, it becomes a bit more difficult when it's fired off during the Asian session there. Right, S&Ps. So yesterday didn't come quite so good for it. It didn't do its usual new high, what seems the order of most days recently. But it did find a bit of support. I was looking for this the day before, actually, looking for it to come back to its 34. Well, it's had a bit of bounce off that 34, and later on it picked up in the markets. But coming back to dailies, it's not looking the best there at the moment. If we see the bonds sort of carry on increasing, who knows what's going to happen here. It's a bit of a bearish look to it, particularly a bearish engulfing candle last 60 minutes, just looking a little bit on the softer side at the moment. But for me, I still would be preferring to buy than sell it if I was looking to get in a trade with it. So I'd just patient and wait and see what's happening. Often best in the US session itself to get the more volume through it. But gold yesterday ended up a shooting star, a bit negative there as well. So just seeing a sort of some crumbly signs maybe for a bit of a retrace on some of these markets. And gold, it's got its weekly pivot below, which it could still draw down to. Bit messy overall. Just looking to see if this sort of breaks off a little bit further south. For oil watchers out there, I'm only going to pop this on dailies. It's just continuing to push back up again at the moment. It's just seeing commodities pushing up. Weaker dollar correlates with a stronger oil price. So there we go. That's all matching nicely. And finally, I'm going to just look at the Bitcoin futures on this chart, but elsewhere, just looking across, and we've had well, Bitcoin futures speak for themselves there with the gap over the weekend there. Of course, the cash market doesn't see that. Coming off quite a bit here on Bitcoin. It really is moving further south. It's interesting times when central banks are talking more and more. We're talking about a Bitcoin, I think it was someone called it yesterday, and we'll maybe see a euro cryptocurrency, and it might just, if they were to be introduced, take over from these other coins. That's probably the government's plan. Anyway, at the moment, it's just the Bitcoin itself is just looking quite soft here, breaking through some key moving averages. Maybe it has got a bit more downside to be had. Yesterday it was recovering quite well. Ethereum off this morning, and I'm just looking at XRP as well. Ripple all off for those that are into Dogecoin. That's the only one that's actually hanging into it. So sitting at 40.50, sitting up to where it has been sitting. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. I wish you a great day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye for now.